Hey, this is Overpass Insights. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today I want to talk about how my job is to deal with confusion. I've mentioned this several times before, but I don't code as much as I used to. I only get involved in a project coding-wise if there's some confusion and I need to help solve it, or a developer has let me down. So for the most part, we set up systems and we set up processes, and if everything works the way that it should, I'm involved in the beginning of the project and I'm involved at the end of the project, and then I'll also check code quality throughout the project, but I'm not doing any coding myself unless there's confusion or unless there's a problem of some kind. And I will tell you what, I do get involved in more projects than I intend to. A lot of times, what I'm doing is, well, I'm checking the code, but I'm also just watching the conversations through Skype. So I've got Rowena on my team. She's getting updates from the developers. Clients are asking questions. They're going through Rowena. She's asking those questions to the developers. And the only time I get involved is if there's some confusion that arises. And I see the Skype conversations and the Slack conversations, and I can tell when confusion starts to arise. When there's one group, the developers are talking about one thing, the clients are talking about something else, and the two just don't meet, and then that's when you have to jump in and do that because we need some sort of clarification, because we need somebody with some experience to say, okay, here's what we need to do. What the client actually means is they need to, the client will say, I need a way to do X, Y, and Z. The developers are saying that's not possible, and really it's going in there saying, actually what we need is an accordion control or a tab view here or whatever we're thinking about from the experience point of view. So that's when I get involved, right? And the only way we can scale is if I stop coding. This was in the beginning. I was doing all the coding myself, and I was run ragged. I was constantly in the middle of the night just trying to make sure that everybody was happy, all the code was complete, every single bug was my issue, every single problem that came up was my issue, and it drove me crazy, and we weren't able to make as much money as we should have because it couldn't scale, right? It was really difficult to scale. And one of the difficult things that I found was being able to take my hands away from the keyboard. And again, sometimes I still jump in. The big thing that I found was stepping away from the keyboard and not coding as much as I used to and leaving it in the hands of somebody else, even though they might not have the same level of experience, but help to bring them up so that they do have the level of experience, so I'm not doing it all the time. But I see my big job now, like every project we're in, my biggest job is I do a lot of firefighting, a lot of taking care of the headaches, and a lot of solving the issues of confusion. The developers are saying, we're not sure that's possible to do, how will that work? And then we just got to think through the data model, how will stuff work? I'll bring in some of my experience from the past. I'll talk with the client saying, here's our proposal. You need to do X, Y, and Z. We propose doing it this way. It will look like this, and then they could do that. And it is. So when you're running your own software company, if you're hiring other developers, you might feel like I did in the beginning, like I'm just the middleman, right? I'm not adding any value. But you know what? Sometimes I'm adding so much value into the process that even then it's too much. It's too much. But I want to ask you guys out there, I'm just giving you a little bit of a glimpse into what my normal day looks like. It's firefighting, it's having meetings, it's solving the confusion, it's going through looking at codes and okay, I can see why this isn't working here because you did this, this, and this, or whatever. And I don't code as much as I used to. So that's pretty much what I do. So my question to you guys today is, if you do run your own software company, how do you work? Do you work in the same way? Do you do the coding yourself, or have you moved on from doing the coding yourself? And if you did, how difficult was it? Because for me, a lot of the times it's like watching somebody else. It's like watching one of my teenage kids drive the car, right? I'm hoping they could do this, right? And sometimes they don't. They crash, and I gotta, help them out. And sometimes, sometimes they do a really good job. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys have the same kind of situations, or do you just prefer to do all the code yourself? Anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to you guys again next time.